Chad here with a solo review of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So before I get into it, I want to say please like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or, make sure you follow the podcast if you just randomly clicked on a Spider-Man podcast. So I love Spider-Man Enter the Spider-Verse. It is hilarious. It has a million Easter eggs, and it's very rewatchable. Like, I rewatched it the other night and I just could not stop laughing, and I didn't really realize how many memes from that movie I still use to this day, like 5 years later. The plot of the new movie is essentially we meet back up with Miles a year and a half after the first movie ended, and he's really become more of himself as Spider-Man. Like, he's really got it down. There's even a funny joke where, similar to the Spider-Man in his universe, he started doing endorsement deals, but he endorsed like the wrong product, so he had to make like a YouTube apology, like so many influencers have to apologize and stuff. But yeah, so we meet up with him a year and a half after the first movie, and Gwen pops back into his life, and we get to spend a little bit more time with Gwen at the beginning of the movie to kind of see where her head's at, and they kind of explain a little in clearer detail her origin story. Like, they touched on it in the first movie, but in the sequel they really make it clear what was going on in her story. And as a result of all of that, her kind of strained relationship with her father, which was kind of interesting stuff. The movie opens with Miles having a fight with the Spot. This is a villain that has these spots all over his body that he can remove and throw, and they're kind of like portals. So Miles is juggling being Spider-Man with the responsibilities of being a student, and as a result, he's being very untruthful to his parents, and they are really getting to a point where it's becoming a problem. To add fuel to the fire, Gwen shows back up, and she's being very cryptic about how she's back and what she's been doing in the last year and a half. So not gonna get spoilery. The movie just came out. Really would like people to see it. I really enjoyed this movie. It was so much fun. It was funny. So many Easter eggs. Like, you have to like get several of those YouTube videos and just study them, because there's just so much stuff in the background. Like he was zipping by and there was a billboard that just said soda, and it was like unoriginal brand, because like they couldn't even think of like a funny tagline. So I just thought that was really funny. There's like so many Spider-Man references in this movie that like I don't know what's left for them to touch on in the third movie, like to reference. And like there's some stuff where I was like, I genuinely thought you guys would save this for its own live action movie. So that was really cool. Shameik Moore is back as Miles Morales, and he's just so much more comfortable in the role. I mean, he was good in the role last time, but like he's really made it his own. Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy, she's good. Their chemistry together is like really good, and I thought that their friendship was really cute. Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099. He was very menacing. Like he did quite well. I really liked Shea Wiggum as Captain Stacy. Like, there was a lot of heart in his stuff with Gwen. And honestly, I feel like this movie is the real movie about family this summer, as opposed to the Fast and the Furious. And lastly, Peter B. Parker, the one that's played by Jake Johnson, he comes back, and I really liked how he has a kid now. And like myself, he's just forcing people to look at pictures of his kid, and he's like, oh, look how cute my kid is, and like all that stuff. And it's like, that's me. I love my daughter so much. If I talk to you long enough in person, you're going to be seeing pictures of her. But negatively, I don't really like how cagey Gwen and Peter were towards Miles about what they were doing, because when all gets revealed, it doesn't really make sense for how they ended the last movie to be acting this way in this movie. Now, if this was their characters from the beginning of the last movie, I would be more on board, because like they were more so not team players. But Miles is their friend, and for whatever happens in this movie, some stuff goes down where it's like, hey, this is not good for Miles. The animation is like absolutely amazing. It's just like drop dead gorgeous. I do wish that this movie was in 3D. It's intentional with the animation to make it look like the movie is kind of like in 3D, like it's like part of it's out of focus in the background. And I just would think that if seeing this movie in 3D would kind of make everything pop. But I don't know. There isn't a screening in 3D anywhere around here where I live. The soundtrack is amazing, just like in the last movie. When it ended, I tried to load it up on Spotify, but I guess the soundtrack isn't coming out until the release date of the movie, June 2nd. And lastly, the after credits scene. There really isn't one. Like, there's one in the middle of the credits that basically says Miles will return, and it says the name of the third movie, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. But honestly, as soon as the credits start, you can walk out. There's nothing to see. Unless you want to sit down, pay respects to the people that made the movie by looking at the credits and listen to some really good music. I highly recommend this movie. This and something else that comes out like I want to say in like 2 weeks have been like the most fun I've had in the movies this year so far. I highly recommend you see this movie not once, but as many times as you can. I know I'm going to try and make some time to see it again this weekend. It's a really fun movie. Check it out. Lastly, like, subscribe, follow the podcast. I've been Chad, and I hope you enjoyed this review.